All right, guys, welcome back to Surviving Hollywood. I'm Johnny Ray Diaz.
I am Aaron Arnold.
I am Austin Arnold.
Hope you guys are doing really good out there. We actually just had an awesome podcast with a buddy of mine, Xaypani Baccam. And I actually know him because we are in this group.
Cult.
If you would want to call it. Sure, why not? It's called the Surge Mastermind. And we're in the special. I know, right?
It's not a cult.
It's not a cult. There is an initiation done. I'm just kidding. But no, we're in a special group of essentially of upcoming filmmakers, directors, writers, producers, hosts. I mean, it's a plethora of different people in the industry, and we've connected in the group. And I invited him to join us on the podcast because Xaypani is a jack of all trades. You know, I mean, this guy has worked in as an actor, producer, writer. He's currently working for one of the largest film marketing firms where they've tested films like Green Book. What were some of the other ones that they did? Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, huge movies, basically. And what I liked about this interview is talking to him about the process of how, you know, they take a huge film, let's say for example Bohemian Rhapsody, and you know they change it based on those audience reactions, and this is the final product that we actually end up watching. So
I loved how they not only do the big budget movies, but they also do indie movies as well. So just from an actor's point of view, how much would that cost if I had an indie feature film that I wanted market tested to see if it was good or improvements and stuff? We ask him about feature films that he's writing, producing, and going to be casting. So that was my biggest sort of takeaway out of it from the actor's point of view.
And I thought you were going to show me your reel. I don't know what happened, but
the thing is, I don't want it to get pulled because there's so many network clips on there.
That's true.
No,
That's true.
The Lifetime movie Aaron and I did, it gets pulled all the time, so I would have pulled it up on Vimeo. Hey, you'll see what we're talking about in the pod.
Yeah, listen, real recognizes real. That's all I'll say. Enjoy the podcast.
I know how long people have known me by what they call me. So that's the craziest thing. So growing up, you know, I grew up in the Midwest, so people called me by my nickname, which was so fucked up. They called me Bunny, right?
Bunny.
So, yeah. So
I don't get it.
So okay. So obviously growing up in white America, white Iowa, right? My parents were like, okay, so my full name is Xaypani, and so the suffix is P-A-N-I, and so they're like, okay, we're gonna chop the X-A-Y, and we're gonna go, you for now, forever, since kindergarten, are going to spell your name P-A-N-I, and it's going to be pronounced Bunny.
What?
Yeah. So,
how does that seem like a good idea?
So it's so fucked up too. So when I obviously, you know, when first day of class, right, every year, people are like,
I'm sorry, man.
Penny Baccam. But obviously, you know, growing up after that, after grade school, after fifth grade, people knew that it wasn't Penny. So
right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's brutal as a kid, because when you're a kid, your name is like, you know, if you have a weird name, people just roast you all the time.
Yeah. Trust. It was not good. And then obviously with college, half people called me by, you know, Xaypani, and then half called me by by Bunny. And then when I moved to LA, I thought I got rid of the whole Bunny thing, right? And then one of my first shitty jobs was at a hotel, and my guy from my hometown hooked me up, and all of a sudden I'm walking around and I introduced myself and I was like, hey guys, like Xaypani, nice to meet you. They're like, yo, I thought your name was Bunny. Like, so yeah. And then people call me Psy now.
Psy,
so
okay.
Yeah, but people call me Psy because of the marketing job, the film and television marketing job, because I would just go by Xaypani, and people were just like, yo, it's too difficult to
I don't think it's hard to say once you said it a couple times. Like,
but when
if you just see it on paper, you're like, I don't know how to.
But that's the thing, right? So
right.
when I deal with studio execs, when they know like, hey, Xaypani is going to be your point guy, blah blah blah, and then they meet, and then they see just the email, they see the X, and they're just like, yeah, like I go Cy, and they're like, okay. But the fucked up thing is my oldest brother goes by Cy. Like he's been going by Cy since he was like, grade school. So then when we did a screening in Chicago where he lives, I introduced him to people, and they're like, oh, 2 Cys, that's crazy. And he's like, no, I'm the real Cy. Like that dude's like, he's stealing my name.
So now the question is, what do you want us to call you?
Call me Xaypani. I don't really give a shit, man, because it's like, whatever. But Xaypani, like I go by Xaypanis. But if you guys,
I'm gonna call you that because that's how I know you.
But
although I was using it as a Z because that's how I heard other people call you that, so I assumed that's what it was. So now I'm the fool.
Dude, you're not a fool. We're all fools, right? We're all living in the.
Dude.
So
go ahead.
I was just gonna ask: is the marketing research company, is that your main hat? Because I'm looking on IMDb, and you've done.
No, so do we want to record this, or do you guys want to know the whole?
Been recording, bro.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, we're gonna cut some of the beginning off.
Okay.
And,
so obviously came out here as an actor, and then auditioned a shit ton, booked, right, and then. For like a period of 5 years, it was just me and like 1 or 2 other people up like big movies, top TV shows, reoccurring, whatever, guest starrings. And then the economy tanked 2007, 2008, right? And it just demolished the industry. And it was weird because you guys remember the movie Crank?
Yeah, I like that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went up for
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I went up for the Pedro role. The guy Pedro from fucking.
Is that the main bad guy in the?
No. His best friend,
Oh, I know the guy on the payphone.
Yeah. Well, no, the guy who plays Pedro in
Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite. Yeah, that dude. So
right.
And he's like a supporting role, right? He's in it through the whole movie, and I went up for. I was like, it was me, and then obviously, he got it because he's a somewhat name. But literally a year later, after the economy tanked, I went up, same casting director, and I was going for an under 5. And I was like, what? Like, what happened? I used to go up for. I mean, when I tell you went up for everything, I was like Green Hornet, like the dude that ended up that was me and like. Him and whatever, obviously because he has a name, he got it.
That's Harold. That's Harold, right? From Harold and Kumar.
No, that dude who got it is a huge Taiwanese pop star.
I was gonna say, it's not John Cho.
No. But I love him too because actually, I went up against him for Star Trek, right? Yeah,
that was a big role.
Yeah. And then. I was just like, what the hell? Like I used to get, like Joel Silver, cause he did Speed Racer. So I was up for that role, one of the roles in there. And then, like I had an email, they sent my managers like, we love him. We're going to sign him up for our next project. And I was like, well, you already know what your next project is. So let's go, let's roll, which was Ninja Assassin. But obviously the guy who got Speed Racer ended up doing Ninja Assassin. So
I do remember that movie actually.
Yeah, and and that dude was a pop star. Where is he from? He's actually Thai. Where the hell? No, Korean pop star. They call him the Asian Usher. So he ended up getting that role. So I guess I just need to be a pop star to get popping off, right? So
are you as agile and dexterous as some of those people that you name?
Unfortunately, I was probably unfortunately, but. Yeah, those guys didn't know any martial arts. I do know martial arts. So, but I fought it for the longest time. Like anybody, I would almost lie, right? Like, do you know martial arts? I was like, yeah, I can handle myself because I didn't want to be that guy, right?
Now, when you say I don't want to be that guy, what do you mean? Like
a working actor, a success?
No. The stereotype, right? It was weird because I was growing up, people would always say, "Oh, you remind me of Bruce Lee," and I was like, "Dude, I don't look like anything like Bruce Lee." And they're like, "Oh, what, Asian?"
So you don't want to be in that Asian stereotype, basically.
Yeah, so I fought it for the longest time. And the craziest thing was I read for, remember that game Tekken? You guys remember that game?
Yeah, I remember they made a movie.
Yes. So
I don't know if I saw the movie or the movie wasn't good.
So I was up for that, right? That was down to me, and whoever got the dude got it. And it got to the point where they go, "Hey, we want to see some martial arts. Like, can you do some flips and shit like that?" Well, I can't do flips and shit. Like, I can do martial arts, I can beat people up, but I can't do like the acrobatics and stuff like that. And I remember sitting down with the director, and I don't know if this is a compliment. You guys can tell me if this is a compliment. So I got done, read for the director. The director was like, "Man, I don't know if you know, but I directed this movie called Bloodsport."
I know that. I remember that movie.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
And he was like, I don't know if you saw it. It was called Bloodsport. It was with Jean-Claude Van Damme, and you remind me of a young Jean-Claude Van Damme, your charisma and everything like that. So I was like, well, he was great, but he sucks as an actor. I mean,
whoa, hold on, man. I'm not gonna let you come on the podcast and talk shit about my boy. All right.
Well, you know what I'm saying. But
he's great in that one character.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, The Quest. Come on, dude. Time Cop.
Yeah,
get the hell out of here, dude.
You gotta cut that out. You can't say, because I actually love Van Damme. So, the one note actor, right?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So I was like, I don't really know how to take that. But I didn't. I
would say it's a compliment, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Especially at that time.
You think so?
Yeah.
Known for being tough and good looking and successful, definitely a compliment.
Yeah.
Well, then again too, right? Like what does he call himself? The muscles from Belgium.
Muscles in Brussels.
Brussels,
something like that.
That's kind of cringe. That's kind of cringe.
So I just fought that stereotype.
So obviously, so it sounds like you were kind of going through your own hurdles at the industry, dealing with stereotypes in the early 2000s. So then, at what point did you sort of make a transition? Because kind of like what Austin was saying, you have so many different hats.
Oh, okay, yeah. So my bad, Austin.
No.
So
I was enjoying the story. Keep going.
So yeah, I just was. So then, during that year after the shutdown, or the economy tanking, I was just like, okay, I need to do something different. So I just met a guy who became like my producing mentor. His name is Chulack. He is, he's half Japanese and he's half white, half Jewish, which he's got an interesting story. His dad actually was what's his name? Steven Seagal's like sensei. Yeah.
What's the style that Steven Seagal practices again?
I don't know, badassery. So I don't know, but it's kind of like Kempo or some Japanese.
Something like that. It's not Kempo, but something.
It's not Kempo, but something like that. But yeah, he's actually, he would tell me stories about how back in the day, Seagal stayed with his family in Japan, and while he was learning. So, but he got into, he's a successful commercial. He has also directed a couple films, like Japanese films, but pretty much he found a niche for himself. Any American movie that needed a Japanese, that had a Japanese element to it, they would hire his company. Like he was, like he did Black Rain, Mr. Baseball. Black Rain was Michael Douglas. Mr. Baseball with Tom Selleck. All of these like Japanese movies. But yeah. So I learned under him, and then, we did this, the American side to this, at the time, the largest Japanese graphic novel, which is called The 20th Century Boy,
The Japanese probably have a lot of graphic novels, dude. Stylist.
Yeah, and it was like the top one at the time. And it was crazy. So we like shot in New York, and we shot Times Square, and which was crazy because I lived in New York for a year, and I was like, there's no way, and like it was shut down, so it was pretty cool. And then just kind of bounced around through like just like it's ebbs and flows, man. You guys know the industry's ebbs and flows. So when it rains,
And what was your role? You were a producer when you were
yeah.
shutting
So I
down
started. It's weird. So I just started off with him and another another independent company, and like I started off as like a transpo guy, like the transpo captain. I was like, what the fuck, right? And then second AD, first AD started like we did a commercial, Target commercial with Shaun White,
Mountain Dews, baby.
Yeah. and then we did, like I did some stuff with Walmart, and then, and like I said, I was talking to you guys or Johnny earlier, this was not through his company, but through a different company, got hired on, and we did a Swiss Air commercial with Marc Forrester, which was Marc Forrester's first commercial. Marc Forrester he's the guy who did Finding Neverland,
Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, Quantum of Solace. And so when we got to him, he just got done with Quantum of Solace. So, and that was his first big budget movie. And so that was pretty interesting talking to him, because like when we would have just the production team, we had dinner, and one of the dinners that we had, he was just telling us, because he comes from the very independent world, with little money, tight budget. And he was like, with Quantum of Solace, like everything was storyboarded for him, everything was just like all laid out for him, and he just had to pick, this is what I want, this is what I want, and like nothing. It was mind boggling to him, when he was telling us like the whole process, of
right,
of everything, because it was like a plethora, which he was not used to, because but and some, I don't know. Did you guys like the movie?
Yeah, I did like the movie. I mean, I like all the Daniel Craig James Bonds, to be honest with you.
Quantum Solace, yeah, I recall liking that. It was a good one, right?
It was good. No. Actually, I really like Casino Royale. I actually just rewatched Casino Royale the other day.
Yeah, well, that was the first one. That was the first one, and then
is Quantum Solace the one where he goes back to his old manor and they see his dad's gravestone?
No.
That was
Quantum Solace was the one where they go into the desert randomly, and then he's like, the whole last half of the movie was in what seemed to be like Saudi Arabia, right? And and it was with.
Oh, is that when he's running through the Saudi Arabian streets and this big sandstorm, or am I thinking it's still?
Yeah, I think that's
there's a sandstorm.
That's the Mummy.
Okay, that's The Rock is the Scorpion King.
Yeah, and then every other movie.
No, I do like those. I did like that movie, and I do like Daniel Craig as James Bond. I'm looking forward to the newest one when that comes out, because I know Rami Malek is playing the main villain, which
should be good.
I like him, so that'll be really cool. So working with Marc Forrester, it was a commercial that you guys collaborated on?
Yeah, so that was his first one, and it was crazy because obviously Swiss Air, and he's he's Swiss, and that was the whole thing, right? They created this whole thing, this whole buzz around him, and they had a whole team, and like through the marketing, like they had an intern leaking stuff. This was like pre-viral, right? This was like this is where the term viral came from.
Really? Around what time?
Like over whatever Quantum of Solace was.
2010?
Yeah, like, because people didn't know what viral meant, right, at the time.
Right.
And so they were like, oh, that was a whole coin term of like, we're going to go viral. I remember sitting down with them, and it was like the marketing
2008 was when Quantum of Solace came out.
And I was like, what the fuck is viral? Like, are you sick? Like, what's going on here? Like, what's going on?
That's usually what it was, yeah.
Yeah, and then they're like, no, we have this guy leaking out, with this intern leaking out. And so literally through the whole process, they had this intern following Marc and just sitting on his computer, typing away, like leaking out footage or leaking out, like tweeting and all that other crap. And so, it caused a lot of buzz. I mean, people were like, "Oh, what is he doing?" And then, that commercial was awesome because I had my hand in everything in that, right? I helped cast it. I worked with I was a liaison with the marketing team from Switzerland, became really good friends with those guys, and then also the top exec for Swiss Air at the time, which was cool because he taught me. He had property in Thailand because I'm Thai, and he had property in Thailand, and he was telling me my history, Thailand history, which I was like, oh, I didn't know that. So he's like, yeah, I live in Thailand, I have a house, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then just like seeing, like I said, the whole process and how it all transpired and came together, and actually just rewatched like that whole segment because there was a documentary about it too. Like it's on YouTube. Like you can follow the whole process of it.
Of making that
whole
commercial.
Thing. Oh yeah, that whole thing, because it was like at the time it was cutting edge, right? Leaking out information and all that stuff. Yeah.
Out of pure curiosity, I don't know if you know this, but how much would a director like that get paid? Any idea?
Well, I mean,
you just directed a huge James Bond movie. Now you're directing a commercial.
Here's the thing, right? Like, I know what they paid him, because, like, I shouldn't know what everything costs, but I know what everything costs. So I don't know how, am I going to get in trouble?
No, you don't have to, look, if you don't want to say.
Don't tell us about him. Just say generally what those guys get paid.
Well, it's weird, right? It depends, because see, that's what's so shady about our industry, right? People.
But he's a name now, so it's like.
So
right?
Back then, okay. So what I know, right? What I was told from the execs, right, was that he, for that spot himself.
You don't have to put his name to it. This could be. This is generally speaking.
This guy, right, generally made a couple, $2 to $5 million for that commercial. Right.
Nice.
So, but that was,
not that much.
I'd take it.
So, but that's the thing though. Like he was enticed, somebody enticed him and said, this is what we're going to do. So,
right.
So if anybody hears or listens to this from either company, like there's a disclaimer that what I say could or could not be true.
I mean, because there's not, I feel like most directors are not like, hell yeah, let's direct a commercial. You know, they do it for the money. There's got to be, of course, there's got to be some incentive.
Why do any of us do a commercial?
Very true.
Right. True. I mean, it's just like, a lot of A-list celebrities go over to Europe and just overseas and does commercials. Right.
Right.
That we
nobody will see
that we
here.
never see, right? But they get paid millions and millions of dollars,
Right.
The biggest question that I had for the past couple of years was, why was Matthew McConaughey doing
Lincoln,
right? But it makes sense now, and because he's been touring around and talking about how he's being, picky and choosy because he doesn't want to do a shitty movie. So he'd rather do something that he believes in, like, his Jack Daniels. Is it Jack? No, it's Wild Turkey or, Lincoln. So, like, I ain't hating, So,
I
think that's cool.
So,
yeah, right. I mean, that day, Brad Pitt, right? When he did that Heineken commercial that was released years ago, but they released it in the U.S. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, it was like around the Super Bowl or something that they released it, So, yeah, man. Would you rather work like 1 or 2 days on a commercial, a Heineken commercial, or would you rather work a whole month on a shitty ass movie?
I'll grind it out, dude.
Shitty ass movie. I go with the commercial.
Go with the movie, dude. I like to earn my money. I like to feel like I did something for it.
If it was a decent movie, I'd go with the movie. But if it's a shitty ass movie, I'll go with the commercial.
But yeah. So then I went through that, learned it. I'm sorry, I'm just not focusing. But yeah, I just learned like that in terms of production wise, and then
and as if Matthew McConaughey is not going to make a shitty movie again. I mean, come on.
Whoa,
Dude,
dude! When was the last
Whoa.
time? When's the last
Nah,
time you
just
made a
kidding.
bad movie?
You're right. He's only
Oscar
makes good
winner?
one. Ever since the one about the AIDS, he's picked them well.
Okay.
You look, shitty movies are abundant. They're all over the place. I have a friend who's an exec at a studio, and she's helping me on a one sheet for my horror film. So I have a slate of films that I'm producing now, and so she was just grilling me on my one sheet, and I was telling her, I said, "Yeah, I think you're just jaded." She was like, "What do you mean jaded?" And I go, "Because you're just a studio, And she was like, "Well, that's what you're trying to chase for." And I go, "Well, yes and no. Like, obviously, I would love to do a studio film, like for a studio to give me money, but this particular film, actually, I'm going independently, trying to finance outside of private investors. So it doesn't really matter." And she was like, "Yeah, but you're still missing this hook." And I was like, "Well, I disagree, because this is my hook, And she was like, "Yeah, but
Can you give us a log line? What's your movie about?
So the log line, so I don't fuck it up. Give me 1 second.
And
Is
then
that it?
And then Austin's also wondering if you guys are doing auditions right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
I prepared a monologue. I don't know. Lols.
Shakespeare, is that cool? Oh.
Yeah.
I should know this by heart, but like I said, I'm working on more than one project at the time. What is it? Oh, it's right here. Let's just do this.
You watch the DVD and you have 7 days before you die.
And when you say you're working, you're writing it, you're producing it,
Yeah,
both?
yeah. So all the above. I am writing it, producing it.
And this is a feature film?
Feature film.
Damn, dude, that's a whole bear of a project.
Yes. Okay, here we go. So the log line. So there's a difference. There's like an intro line and on a one sheet. You got your intro, and then you have your log line. So my intro, though, is The Walk Home is urban legends meets Saw, but with a familiarity like Death and Taxes. Everyone can relate. Okay. And so when she read that first, she was like, "What the fuck is Death and Taxes?" Like, am I missing the movie Death and Taxes? And I said, no. This is why I said she was like out of touch.
It's the only thing that's guaranteed in life.
Yes, Death and Taxes. And I said, "Are you kidding me?" I go, "See, that's why you're too plugged in. You've been in the studio system too long. When I'm saying Death and Taxes, I'm talking about eventually you will die, and you have to pay taxes." And then she was like, "Oh yeah, okay." So, but the log line is when a studious, bright-eyed young woman decides to listen to her free-spirited friend, a simple walk home turns into a horrific and torturous experience.
Cool.
So,
strong female lead, horror. This movie's going to sell.
She realizes she forgot her shoes. She's got to walk barefoot.
Yes.
Die Hard-esque.
So, yeah. So I literally was like just talking to her about it. I said, she was debating with me, giving me her feedback. And I just said, "Look, this goes back to the film marketing research company. Now, my son, I actually stumbled into that. So, because I've been doing independent producing and, produced independent films, documentaries and whatnot. And I got to the point where I just didn't want to work with anybody who I didn't trust. So that just was very, that's myself.
So before we jump into any of that stuff,
okay.
Just so our audience isn't confused, and so I'm not confused. Let's quickly break down the things that you do now.
Okay. So
and then we'll kind of just talk about what have you done in the past that's gotten you to this point.
A lot of editing.
So what are you doing?
Obviously,
zero editing. Actually.
Yeah. What are you doing? I guess what are the hats that you're wearing now?
So the hats I'm doing right now is I work for the largest film and television largest film and television market research company, right? So we run focus groups. We work with all the studios and top production companies. We test films from them. we run, like I said, we run the focus groups. We do all the data. We give them this big ass report.
Like Adam Sandler movies, because those need some focus groups, I feel.
So it's funny that you said, what's his name? Who the dude that you like that's gonna in the new
Raimi.
Bond? Yeah, Raimi. So we tested the shit out of Bohemian Rhapsody. So when
No,
I say
that's
test,
that's a thing that had some problems with editing, because Bryan Singer originally left the project or got fired,
Yes.
and then they bring in the guy who did Rocket Man, and it was
Yes.
just like
yeah.
tough.
So we initially, the company was hired. We did a small screening on a studio lot.
By the way, I loved the movie though.
Did you?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Queen, and Rami Malek really. It's not a perfect movie, but it was really good. I'm a huge fan of the Queen music, how it was integrated, and Rami Malek brought it home by making Freddie Mercury a real person.
Yes. So and that was what they were trying to do, right? The band, the filmmakers, they were trying to just like make a celebration of his life. Whereas in like people who didn't care for the movie, they were like, well, we wanted more grittiness, right? We wanted to know more of his issues, more of his struggle, but that wasn't the film that they were trying to make, you know? The movie, what was presented is what they wanted to make.
Roger Taylor and Brian May, they were executive producing it, so they're gonna keep it PG-13, not R.
Yeah. So they were like, but we tested the film, and I think in one of the focus groups, somebody said, hey, we could see this up for a movie, or not for a movie, but up for an Oscar. And so once any producer hears, the Oscar word, they just like, oh shit. So it got to the point where we're just like, again, right? Again, really?
And what are some of those notes, like by those again stages that would come back?
I mean,
it's like pacing and story, right?
Yeah, a lot of it is pacing, right? Who do you like? Who do you connect? Before I got with the company, there was a movie, Father Figure. It's a movie with Owen Wilson and Ed Helms, right? Like we tested that. This is before me, so this is hearsay. And it was like they tested it, but something wasn't right. Like it was just something wasn't clicking for the movie. And then somebody had written in one of the surveys like, "Hey, I can really see Christopher Walken being one of the dads." And then we didn't see it for like 6 months, and then we started testing it again, and then when you're going down the cast, they're like, "Oh shit, what? Christopher Walken's not in this movie." They had recast a role, and they put the reshot with Christopher Walken, and they retested it, and then the movie, that people loved it, right? Liked it, and they released it in that way. So that's the power of testing a film, like doing the market research for that, right? This company has a 30 plus years database of all the top movies. Like, so we know what storylines people, tend to gravitate towards, what type of characters, so when you go in, you just look. Also too, like testing a film also makes and breaks a first time director. So if he doesn't hit like a certain benchmark, like they might not ever work again. Like if it tests poorly, you know what I'm saying?
Has there ever been a time where the testing was wrong? Like let's say the testing was saying this is not being received well, and then they decide to go that way, or they change something and then ends up actually backfiring.
No,
Right.
because
people are wrong.
Because that's the thing, right? I think with us as filmmakers, when we become self-indulgent and we don't care if the audience, the people that we actually go and see our movies, like it, that's when we get in trouble, right? And I feel we all have watched certain filmmakers become self-indulgent. Like, I mean, you could, it's even musicians too, right? Like there are certain musicians or certain people, bands who make great music, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck is this shit, right? They just don't care. You just get to a point where you just don't care, and you're just making movies for yourself because they've already made their money and whatnot. You know, they don't care what the audience says. You know, I mean, I've been a part of this. There was a horror film we were testing, and man, when they got done, somebody from the audience yelled, "Worst fucking movie ever."
Damn.
You know, and
then that was Paranormal Activity.
And the filmmakers were there, you know, and that's like the worst, right? When the filmmakers are there, and you know, and it just.
But then they recut the movie, I'm assuming, right?
I mean, you got to do what you can, right?
There's only so much you can do, right? Unless you reshoot it.
Yeah, well, you're obviously
add a few more jump scares.
Yeah,
more scary sound effects. Creaky door.
It becomes okay. Is it pacing? Is it storyline? Is it characters? You know, 9 out of 10 times they're not going to recast people, right? Because it costs a lot of money to go back and reshoot a lot of people's footage, right, or scenes.
Yeah.
So, you know,
unless you're Kevin Spacey and you just got accused of, you know.
Well, that is different, right? That is different.
But that's worth the money.
Yeah, because you're trying to make money, not lose money, right? So, but you know, that's the thing. It's a lot of it is, and what I see. So it's funny to see going into a movie screening and then having all the feedback come back, and then what, a year later, 6 months, 9 months later, when a movie is released, what actually makes the movie, you know, the final cut. But it's definitely, it's a must. I believe if you're not well versed as a filmmaker, right? And that's the toughest thing, because a lot of times people don't know the whole process. Like some people are just, you know, technical aspects in terms of like, you know, hey, I was a grip, or hey, I'm a DP, you know, but they don't know, like, or even a director is not an actor's director, right? They don't know how to direct actors, and they don't know how to tell a story. Like all this, the service that this company does helps you make a better commercial film. Right?
Now, is it typical that not every big studio film go through this process?
I mean,
like, let's say, for example, like, and I could be wrong, but I've heard like Christopher Nolan has a lot of control over things.
So certain, like obviously, like, you know, the Marvel movies, like they test, like we don't test those. They test them themselves, like in-house, you know, because this has to be secrecy and stuff like that. But pretty much every big movie that comes through that a studio has, like, it's tested. Yeah.
Even if the director doesn't agree, like, no, I don't want to cut this scene. They're like, too bad.
I mean, it's just too much money at stake.
Right.
You know, I mean, granted, like, yes, Nolan Ryan, or is that not Nolan Ryan?
Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Christopher Nolan, he probably doesn't test, or if he tests like within his group, right? He'll watch the movie and like do notes and whatnot. But that's also kind of.
I heard he
like,
just watches the movie by himself and he makes the decision.
But that's the thing too, right?
He's the tester.
Have you guys seen
I'm
Tenet?
just kidding.
Did you guys watch Tenet?
Not
No,
yet.
I heard that it's a mind fuck. Most people didn't know what was going on.
So, right? Like, I heard the same thing. I heard it was good. It's typical, you know, Christopher Nolan movie that you're just kind of like, what?
He set the bar too high for himself, I think, and he couldn't deliver.
That's why you got to aim low.
But is that the real thing though? That's the real question. Is it the fact that, you know, that he set the bar too high, or is it the fact that you're just at a certain level and you just don't give a fuck? You don't care, right? Because you're making your money and you're just going to do what you're going to do, right?
But I feel like that movie lost money, right?
It actually, look.
Blame COVID.
Yeah, it would have done well.
It was the only movie in theaters, and theaters were all closed.
Okay, let's ask this simple question: do movies really lose money?
Let's ask this question: Is COVID real? Just kidding.
Depending on who you talk to, right?
No. Do movies lose money?
Ask this guy, and he's saying that they're not. So, and I think so. Go ahead. Anyway, sorry.
No. Like, do studio films really lose money?
I would say overall, no. They recoup their money through other films. Money that I would say that films that they take losses on, they make their big money on like a Marvel movie or whatever, and they recover all that money.
Because I mean, technically what the media tells us, like pretty much every movie does shit, right? And then only the big movies make money. And if that was the case, any fucking company, any regular company, if they ran a business like that, they would not be in business anymore. So,
Right.
you know, that being said, the film and television is like the largest export in the United States, right? Or it was a few years ago. I think is Google technically an export business?
I don't know, but movies and entertainment is definitely in the top 3 always.
Yeah. So that being said, how does that industry lose money left and right if it's the largest, right? Or even top 3 industry?
I guess if you're looking at it internationally, like, yeah, they probably recover all that money internationally. But like, let's say a movie costs $250 million and it grosses domestically $100 million. I mean, you're $150 in the hole, but you probably recover that internationally.
So then
right?
Technically it never lost more, then it didn't lose money then.
If you recover internationally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
what about indie films though?
Yeah,
I feel like that's a little tougher.
So we do indie films, like we test indie films too. Like that's,
How much to test an indie?
Well, okay. I don't know what I just have they try, it's thousands of dollars to test the film.
Tens of thousands or thousands?
No, it's tens of thousands of dollars to test the film.
Austin has a short monologue he wants to test right now.
Okay, do it. Let's go.
Well, can I Venmo you the 10,000?
No. I won't charge you because I'm not the company. I'm not the company.
I don't.
No, he wants a full packed audience. He wants a full theater.
Okay.
I have a goddamn reel. I don't have a monologue.
Okay. I can give you my expert opinion on your reel.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, really? All right, man. I don't know. I was just joking around, but if you guys want to do that,
well, I got to pull it up.
That's fine.
No, but it's funny too because like we've also worked with studios when they want to do an IP, and literally they'll bring in people in for focus groups and go, what would you want to see? Would you want to see Barney Goes to Hollywood? Do you want to see, and then next thing you know, they're doing Barney Goes to Hollywood, right? So They literally, so not only do they buy scripts, but then within themselves, they also try to think of like IPs that are already, that people want to see. Like
is there a certain actor that always tests well?
I mean, yeah, like The Rock, right? Like people love The Rock.
He's so damn likable, man.
He's very smart with how he picks it,
It's always forgiving, right? People, the nicest guy too, because he shows up to pretty much like every time we screen his films, like he shows up and he's like the nicest guy. But yeah, that's not fake. He is a nice guy. But yeah, it's so weird too, because like so initially when I started this, like I said, I fell into it because a buddy of mine said, hey, I just needed a side gig. And so I was just kind of like, just like a low man on the totem pole. And then I started seeing, because I didn't know much about it. And then as I got into it, I was like, oh, I could actually learn something from this. And that's my personality, right? I like to learn things so I can better myself, and kind of maneuver my way in this industry. And then because I first thought like, making all these connections because we think that, who is going to make you get somewhere, right, in this business. And because like, like I said, like the top of the studios, top production companies, like I'm dealing with them, weekly. And then I realized, that's not it. It's the actual filmmaking process. It's the knowledge of the focus group of kind of, I like to say, how, did you guys ever see like the interview with Stallone? He said like, yeah, when I started off, I worked at a movie theater and that helped me become a better writer because I saw how, where the transitions were between the first act and the second act and everything like that. That's the same thing for me. It just made me a better writer, right? A better filmmaker because I'm hearing and I'm seeing what audiences like, right? And then also at the same time, I'm hearing what the heads of the studios and the head of production companies, what their thought process of it, you know.
Will you be testing your own feature when the time comes?
You got 3 willing people to watch it right here.
I don't know if I would test it to the fact of like hiring the company, right? I would hire the company, and obviously they would help me because, you know, I've been working for them for a few years, and they've done that for other people, right? Who've come up through the company. But unless I was totally not feeling my own film, I would hire them, you know. I mean,
you're saying it's not worth it to spend the money for you.
Well, I think that's my secret sauce right now, right?
True.
Not only as an actor and a producer and a filmmaker, is that I'm in that, right? That's part of the reason why people hire this company, because of that knowledge, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all guesstimation, right? But it's an educated guess, you know. But here's the thing, which I think is very, very important, which is very pivotal for our industry, is that pretty much everybody, like every focus group, is ready for diversity. Like they're tired of seeing the same actors, tired of seeing white actors. They just want to see different. Sorry, dudes. Like
it's okay. My time was in the 90s.
But they said the same white actors. Like
okay,
they're
that's
different.
fair.
So unless they like you're doing something that I haven't seen. So
yeah.
No more Owen Wilson.
I did see a phenomenal short, you know, of your dad or somebody's dad in the hospital.
Yeah,
I did see
Whoa.
that.
The old Papua.
Yeah.
Old Papua.
Yeah. So it's like I said, that's, you know, owning your destiny, owning who you are. And I realized like, because like I said, I could read something or I can watch something, and then, you know, I always had that kind of like, even like in acting class, right? When I always thought it was bullshit when you would get a scene and you would do it, and your acting coach would be like, or acting teacher would be like, yeah, you should have did this or do that. And then like you go back and watch the movie and you see like Denzel or Russell Crowe or something do it the way you do it, you know? And you're just like, see, you don't know shit because Denzel did it this way. So, but it's all subjective, right?
True.
So,
maybe Denzel was wrong.
Well, like hell.
Maybe you were subliminally copying Denzel.
That is true, right? But if he did it, right?
That's true. It's true. Hey, have you? We have a lot of female audience members, a lot of male ones too, that watch this podcast.
Oh, I'm not gay.
Oh, then next question.
Okay.
No, have you cast the lead female role yet for your feature you talked about?
What are you looking for?
I am going Latina though.
And how are you going to cast?
Latinx.
Yeah, like Latina X, right? Like, is that?
It's the new thing now.
I just don't want I don't want this clip resurfacing years later when you called it a Latina, you know.
Or Latinx, right? Is that
it's
what it is?
It's Latinx, yeah.
But I said Latina because for the film,
right?
Yeah.
But Latinx means basically it could be a woman or it could be a guy. It doesn't matter. There's no pronoun associated with it.
There are no genders. That's
exactly. There's no gender roles.
Something we all know.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, what are you looking for besides Latina, Latinx? Besides that, what else are you looking for in a female lead?
It really depends on like for this movie or just in general.
No, for that movie.
Look.
So that's what I'm saying. It's less general. For this movie, you need something who's sensitive, who is powerful, funny.
I think just honest, right? I think since all of us as actors, that term honest, like honesty, that's like, don't phone it in, right? Like earlier on when I was acting, I used to get called out and said, dude, you're John Wayning it. Stop being John Wayne. You know, I was like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? It's like you're showing, right? I used to like supposedly, hey,
like you're indicating.
Yeah, like, hey, like this is what it's gonna be, and yeah, you're gonna like it because I'm going to charm the pants out of you. Right. So, but yeah. So no, it's just honesty, right? What do you guys look for? And like when you guys do your stuff?
Well, we cast our friends primarily because we know a bunch of actors.
So we already know like the people who are, you know, the people
we have some,
would work with.
Yeah, like we have such a pool of people that we, you know, work with in class with.
I look for somebody
go ahead.
who's going to show up, who's going to, you know, who just knows going to deliver in whatever way. So
not going to complain.
But here's the thing, right? Us as actors, like, so in my other projects that I've cast in the past, it literally is that you are looking like, it's funny because before I started doing my own shit, I hated when my casting directors and producers say, look, we want you to do well. Like, we want you just to take that role. And it legitimately is. Like, like when I cast people, I want someone to show up and just do the work, right? And just show me something maybe I didn't expect, you know? And look, and when I used to audition a lot, I used to get in that trap of just phoning it in. Not phoning in the sense of not putting it on my all, just phoning it in of just like, oh, this is the same song and dance. This is just another episodic, or this is just going through the motions. That's what I mean by phoning it in. You know, actually doing the work and taking the time. But that's why I also don't like the auditioning process, because I don't feel, well, first off, when you're on set, you're never given 30 seconds to a minute just to fucking kill it, right? Like that's take after take after take after take after take. Like you can do it, right? So that's what I always thought was pretty funny. So I'm very generous when we cast. Like I want to see people do well, you know, because.
Do you have a casting director that you've worked with a bunch, or do you do that yourself?
We've worked with different casting directors. But right now we don't have one because, like I said, we're still fundraising for it right now with this. This is a new production company. So you guys my partner you guys interviewed before.
Josanne, right?
Yeah, Josanne.
Oh, nice.
Was it Josanne Marie? Yeah,
she's the best.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, why is she just not self-funding in her own? Come on, Josanne. Don't
best-selling author.
Stop asking people for money. Just pay for it. Just kidding. No, I love Josanne. She's amazing.
That's something that you're gonna have to ask her about.
I'm a huge fan of hers. So
yeah.
Hey, Sai. Unless we wanted to talk more about Josanne, but I had a question for you based on. I saw you did a full-length documentary based on the works of Dr. Stephen Greer. You know anything about that? That guy's a huge UFO guy, dude. Are aliens real? That was a hugely successful documentary. I'd love to hear about that.
So, wow. So initially what happened was I was the director, right? He's also the principal of the production company. I was introduced to him because I had a lot of money connections. And so he had a feature film, found footage film that he wanted to direct and produce. And so we were meeting together in terms of to get that film off the ground. And then his funding fell through. And then he was like, wait, like, I really like you. I really want to work with you. So because the found footage film was about UFOs, he had built a community around that whole UFO, you know, people, right? And Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer was one of those people. And he was like, he's considered, if you guys don't know, one of the like forefathers of UFOologists. Is that what it is? Right?
Is he? I don't know. Tell me about that. Do you believe him? Do you believe him?
Do I believe him? This is what I say.
He was abducted, right?
He says he was abducted. He says he was abducted. So my thing is this. If 1% of his shit is real, or even 0.5% of the shit is real, it's fucking mind-blowing. Okay? Like, supposedly he has these fail safes all around the world that if he ever gets taken out, all this shit's
it'll come out.
It'll all come out. But
I want to see it. Take him out.
It's weird because, so I don't know. So the director at the time when we were filming it and making it, his father, so he's from Milwaukee. His father, he's Sikh, Sikh religion, right? And Sikh. Is it Sikh or Sikh?
Sikh. Yeah,
and
I think so.
He might be sick though. These are trying times.
He's got COVID.
But I don't know if you guys remember back in the day, there was this delusional ex-military guy who shut up a Sikh temple. And his dad, the director of the dad. I remember
actually, yeah.
Yeah, he was the president of the temple, or the head of the temple, and he literally went in and he was murdered.
Wow.
Which was weird because they said when they went in, all the cameras went off for like minutes, and where his father was in his office. So you just don't stumble to his office, right? Like the guy knew where his office was, you know? So we were having these thoughts and delusions of, oh shit, is the UFO people, the government, trying to shut us down? Or is it a coincidence that his father was murdered? So
I don't know.
I really don't either. And to this day, I don't know, because I don't really believe in coincidences. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but do you believe in UFOs? Like Aaron asked you.
I do. I do believe in aliens. I do. I think.
You're one of those people, huh? Okay.
Now, to the.
Thanks for tuning into the podcast.
To the extent of like, do you guys believe in aliens? I want to do you?
I do.
Hey, this is about you, man, not us.
Yeah.
Right, so
Austin does.
I do believe that there's, life out there. I don't know if I believe every guy's story about how he got anally probed, unless he goes on like Art Bell or something. Then I'm like, yeah, this guy's telling the truth.
Johnny?
I think so. I'm on the fence a little bit, but like I have seen like a lot of like interviews and documentaries about. There's that one documentary I saw on Netflix, and he was also the dude that was on
Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that guy.
That's
what's his name?
I don't know, but it's the famous guy who like used to work at like Area 51.
He worked at Area 51. He worked on the aircraft.
And he actually some of the stuff that he has said in the past has been proven to be correct. So it's like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
I mean, the way he described it is how when he was working on this aircraft at the time, in that time period, that technology was nowhere near human existence. Like there was no way they possessed that technology. And so what they were looking at was literally something that was like, it was unexplainable. Like there wasn't even words to explain how it worked, because we didn't have that technology. We didn't possess it. So they knew there was this aircraft or something that he was studying.
And like this power source too.
Right. They were just like, we don't have anything like that in the world.
See, so you guys are going way too deep than what I go through. I just say, this is what I say.
You're just like, yeah, man, whatever.
I just say that the universe, the universe is too big for us to be the only things living in it. That's the furthest and deepest extent I go.
No, let me ask you, Sai. So that implies somewhere out there in some given time in the world's history, there is aliens. So if that's true, do you think aliens have pets?
Or we're the pets?
Oh, dude, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms, dude. Right? Because then we're talking about, are we living in a matrix? Right? Like, is this real reality?
Well, we're not their pets, unless we might be. But like, I'm just saying, like in a distant world somewhere, are there little alien pets?
I like to think that there are.
I would have to say yes. I would really have to say yes, because why do we have pets? Right?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I saw the one with Jet Li, multiple dimensions. There's me somewhere out there. There's 100 copies of me out there. So
I don't discount that either.
Oh yeah, that was a good one, dude.
That was a fun movie.
That was
Jason
great.
Statham. I mean, come on, dude.
Didn't Jackie Chan do a movie like that? Or there's different versions of him in different dimensions?
No.
I don't think so. That was Jet Li.
I think that's you being racist.
I wasn't gonna say it.
All right, yeah, it's probably Jet Li. That was a good movie.
Not all Asians look alike.
Ooh. Anyway, well, so obviously you have all these. You're doing the marketing stuff. That's been heavy. What is your? I guess what's your main focus now, or what is your ultimate goal?
So the ultimate goal is just to tell stories, right? To make change, like to make films, to make television that actually, you know, as corny as it sounds, representation matters, right? And that's kind of like running, you know, like the whole thing about me running away from like knowing martial arts and stuff like that. Just kind of really not owning up to me being an Asian American, right? But it kind of turned to me. Something switched with me because like I was looking for a car one day years ago, and then went to CarMax, and this young kid, you know, like I don't know, early 20s, and he was a sales guy, and he was Vietnamese, and we were talking, and he was like, yeah, I went to the military, and because I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went to the military, and then I'm done. I'm training MMA, and I go, oh, so you want to fight? And he's like, no, I don't want to fight at all. I hate fighting. I just love training. I just don't know what else to do, right? And then I asked him, I said, well, if you saw more Asians just in general on just in the media, would you, like, we're doing other things, like, would you do it? And he was like, yeah, probably, because I just felt like I had nothing else to do. And this is a kid who grew up in Los Angeles, right? You're not in this small town Midwest like where I was. You know, you're not from a small country or a third world country or anything like that. This is a kid growing up in the 90s and 2000s in Los Angeles, where pretty much you can, if you want to do anything, you can do anything what you want. And because he was not seeing himself anywhere, right, in the media, he just felt like he had no options, which is so not ironic, but so weird to me, right? Whereas I grew up in an earlier time in the Midwest, you know, surrounded by white people, and I felt like I could do whatever the fuck I wanted, right? Even though I was from a small town. So,
which state?
Iowa, born and raised in Iowa.
Ohio.
No. Oh, really?
Yep.
Nice. Where? Cleveland?
That's the big city I tell people, but
Columbus?
30 miles east. Hey, we're getting more specific. Chardon, Ohio, which is 30 miles east of Cleveland.
And how big was your town?
Town, I forget, but school, like we had like 300 in our graduating class.
Same. It was like I had 299. I had 299. Yeah.
So not too big.
Yeah. Like our town at the time was like 28,000. I think right now it's like around 26 or something like that.
Damn. That's small.
Yeah.
28,000 people.
Yeah. So you just basically just, you know, that's what also Joseanne and I gravitated towards, right? My partner. So for the production company, it was just because she wants to make change as well, and positive change, obviously.
Right.
And so, and that's my goal. My goal is just to, because I got tired of going up for stuff and, you know, being told, oh, you're too tall, or like, we're looking for this type and you're not that type, or Asians don't open films. Like that was the biggest reason too, of like doing this whole, you know, marketing research is like, do the studios really think that way? And
I mean, that's what kind of goes unsaid, right? Asians don't open films. They don't say it out loud.
Yeah. Just like they have large penises.
Okay.
So,
right. Breaking the stereotypes.
Exactly. So
when you were working in the marketing stuff, what did you discover? Do they really say that stuff? Is that how they really feel? All right.
Yeah. So we were testing this large comedy, right?
Well, what's the name of it?
We love comedies, dude.
I don't know. I can't really.
Who's in it?
Type it in the chat. Type it in the chat.
We'll just guess. We'll guess what it is.
No, you can type it in.
Big comedian, female comedian.
Amy Schumer.
And
and LeBron James is in the movie, right?
Trainwreck?
No, not that movie. But
with Bill Hader. No, that's the same one.
You said it was a girl. You said it was a girl.
With Goldie Hawn or whatever.
Oh yeah, that movie.
No,
the Hawaiian
not that
movie.
movie.
Oh.
No.
She only has like 5.
But so a movie with a female comedian.
Tiffany Haddish.
So she
Right.
like, oh no, not
All
Tiffany Haddish.
All right.
But and then so the main producer walks like after we, the movie started and everything, like, and they're looking at the demographic of who showed up, right? The audience who showed up in there, and she was like, she saw that there was, I think, like 6 or 7% Asians in the audience, and she said, "Why is there so many fucking Asians in here? Like, there's no Asians in this movie." And then
There's no Asians in this movie?
Yeah, she's like, "Why are they watching this movie? Like, why are they coming to watch this movie?"
We want the whites.
And that's the thing, right? Certain people in Hollywood think that you need certain ethnicities only go watch their own kind. But as we know, if a good movie is a good movie, we go watch it, right? So do people think that way? I would say yes.
Do Asians love Amy Schumer? We don't know.
I don't know. I can't speak as the whole Asian race, right? Because
That's true.
So it is Amy Schumer. Okay.
I'm
still trying to figure out who it is.
I don't know. You're gonna get me in trouble here. You guys are gonna get me in trouble.
Sorry, dude. Yeah, you never said anything. We're just taking guesses.
Your massive fan base is gonna, like, next thing you know, like, I'm gonna be roasted. I'm gonna be roasted by.
My mom's gonna send you a message on Instagram.
These people
really
like,
upset.
That would be nice.
Some publication is gonna quote me and say, Xaypani said that Hollywood's racist. Well,
I would love that kind of press for this podcast. But you're right.
I don't think you're the first to say that, though. So
yeah, exactly.
I feel pretty. I feel pretty.
Do you feel pretty?
No, it was at the movie.
Oh. I don't know. I can't confirm or deny.
All right.
Anyway, guys, we've been going for a pretty long time. Let's
I know.
let's get to final questions. Then
So,
we'll talk off mic, and you can tell us all.
Dude, I could tell you so many. There's so many different stories, like different aspects. Like I think Johnny and I talked about it, like
we've gone on tangents.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different things, right? Like what is your viewership like? What is your viewership like? What do you guys like? The whole thing is surviving Hollywood, right?
No, I still got him.
Oh, did I lose you?
I still heard you.
Wait,
Can't hear you anymore.
There it goes. What's our demographics? I'll look it up right now.
Like what? Like no. What do you guys like? Your whole theme is surviving Hollywood, right? So, yeah. I mean,
what do I like in what way? What do you mean?
No, what do you guys? What's your whole shtick? Like, you guys started this podcast because you're trying to survive Hollywood, trying to give tips.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that, like, at least for me personally, like, one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast is because I'm interested in, like, I love movies and I love the whole filmmaking process and everything. So I want to hear from people that are working in the industry about what they do. And it could be an industry that I'm not familiar with, so I could learn better. And I think it also makes me a better actor, writer, producer, all that stuff. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. And I also I love hearing stories about stuff. You know what I mean? Like, about how this got started or this happened, like, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, same thing with me. And I just like, connecting with people. It's a good way to, if you work with somebody you probably not a great chance to ever see again, you say, hey, I'd love to, if you come on the podcast, love to talk to you about your story. And then all of a sudden, it's just like another way for us to connect.
Yeah. I mean, all of it's good. I mean, I've actually listened. I did my homework. I listened to some of you guys' stuff.
I'm sorry.
Which episodes?
What episode did you like?
The recent one that I actually, right before today, was the one with, what's his name? Is it Reno or is it Renee? The guy from Stewart?
Renee.
Oh, yeah. Renee Moran.
Nice. Yeah. That was a great one.
He was good.
But yeah, like the little gems, like I've been there. I did every aspect of the industry to the point where, I was fundraising and I blew up a guy who had a Ponzi scheme, he had people in like Russell Capital, which is in Canada. It's like one of the largest hedge funds in the world. And he had somebody at Mike Dell's Dell Computer at his hedge fund. And because there was a point in time too when I first started producing.
Is that company still around, Dell?
Dell Computer,
yeah.
I
remember the guy that got caught smoking weed. The guy that was like, "Dude, you're getting
a Dell,"
and he got caught smoking weed or something. That was done.
But
I don't know.
I met a guy who he claimed to be a billionaire, and he
became president.
No, this guy freaking he was a hustler. He ran a Ponzi scheme, and he had people in all these like hedge funds and vouching for him that he had money in, right? And he never asked me for money, but like a whole year's worth of work, like
that's how they groom you, dude.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy. And then the craziest thing was the fact that I knew through how we met, which was weird, sketchy itself. But he was at a gas station in Calabasas, right? And this gas station had tons, because a lot of celebrities live up there, and he had tons of connections. So he met actually, what's his name, Dr. Dre's bodyguard. So his end game was to make money for this bodyguard to get to Dr. Dre. And so initially the bodyguard gave him $40,000, and then like in a month's time made him $200,000. And he was trying to get Dr. Dre. But at this whole time, finally he was like, "Hey, I want you to head up my production company, and we're gonna we did paperwork." And I was waiting for it was like $100 million film fund that he was going to put me in charge of. And so we were I worked, him and my producing partner at the time, we worked together to get A-list projects and people on board. And we were ready to go. And for like a month time, we were waiting for contracts. And then he never asked us for money. And then at the last second, because he was hurting, he wanted for money. So then, and we vetted everybody, and for some reason, something didn't sit well. So we went back and we talked to the HR at these places, and HR was like, "Yeah, these people are real. Never heard of this guy. They should never vouch for the money," and blah, blah, blah. So we blew up his Ponzi scheme. And so he's on the run now. So I remember
sounds like the Fire Festival.
Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. But
I fell for one of those schemes years ago, and I gave somebody a bunch of money. So
did you really?
Yeah.
No,
I swear I did.
How much money?
Well, I mean, it's not a lot compared on the grand spectrum of things, but I definitely
$20 is $20.
I definitely threw away a lot of money.
But what was that scenario though? What was the scenario?
It was well, this is not film related, but it was when I used to do when I used to be a nightclub promoter, and I had been trying to graduate to setting up live shows, like concerts, big events. That was my goal. And I was trying to set up a show with T.I. And a guy that I had worked with, through a connection, told me that he had a dude that was going to get T.I. on the show and a couple of other well-known rappers, and to do a show in Vegas. And we bought into it, and I basically gave this dude a bunch of money because I never met the guy, but we had talked before many times. And the guy that vouched for him, because the guy that vouched for him, I knew him. I had worked with him, and I felt good about him. But as soon as we gave that dude that money, it's gone.
He bounced. That sucks, dude.
A cautionary tale.
It was. I was bitter for a long time, dude.
Isn't T.I. the guy who says "mo money, mo problems" though? So
that's B.I.G.
Oh.
Nice try though. Nice try. But it was a learning lesson, man. I mean, I still wish I had that money, but
Hey, we should wrap up the podcast and talk off mic because we like to keep it under.
But anyway, so where can our audience find you, dude? And if they want auditions for this movie you're doing,
they got to stand by. But the production company is called Double Eight Entertainment. We have 4 feature films that we're going to get off the ground, and we have 3 episodics that we're working on as well. Okay. We're also working on a live stream. Josanne, her one-woman show. we're doing that. So there's a lot of big things going down, but they can always find me on Instagram, even though I took a hiatus from Instagram, guys, because
or whatever if you don't want to use IG, if there's something else, another platform, or if you don't have anything, that's fine too.
That's it. Like I have a Twitter, but I'm never on Twitter. I don't like social media, guys.
It sucks. I hate it.
Are you guys social media people?
Yeah, I got the basics. You're very apprehensive about plugging your social media.
No. No, because I'm not.
Just give us your number and your email, dude. Come on, man.
So my IG is just Xaypani, Xaypani. I think that's it, right?
Okay.
I think my Twitter might be the same, but I never check Twitter. Right.
Is the production company has an IG though, right?
Yes, production is 88 Entertainment.
There you go.
I follow that.
Do you really? Because see, Josanne, she's in charge of that. Like,
oh yeah, I follow because of Josanne.
Yeah, tell her it's messed up that you guys unfollowed me. It's not cool.
Did we unfollow you? I think we promote the shit out of you, right?
I didn't ask for any of that, dude. But thank you. Thanks, Josanne.
I promoted your shit too. Come on, dude.
Yeah. You guys, thank you guys. You didn't need to do that, but that's cool.
Suddenly he is on Instagram promoting your shit.
That's the only thing
because of everything. You know how I like social media is like you just become consumed by it. Yeah. I literally, because of our projects and all the deadlines that I had to meet, like I just had to shut it down and just get focused. So I've been off IG for 2 weeks. So what have I missed?
Nothing, dude. Good for you.
You missed a bunch of likes.
Biden won. I don't like.
Did he?
Yeah.
Who? What?
Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Hey man, they're doing a recount right now. So hey.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Xaypani, Xaypani. That's our 88 Entertainment. It's gonna be good. Like we're gonna pop off. Like we're gonna make some good films.
Well, when you guys have auditions for that movie, let us know. Make sure to plug it. And dude, thank you for
fluffers.
Not me.
That's easy. That's easy, Jeff.
Cool. Sai, thank you so much for coming on, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. Did we talk about anything?
We talked about it a lot.
We'll see.
Thanks, dude.
Maybe part 2 or part 3.
I'd love it.
There'll definitely be a part 2 for sure.
Too much. I appreciate it, guys.
No.